Okay, let's dive into the fascinating financial roller coaster that is Jean-Claude Van Damme's movie career. Trying to pin down exact paychecks for every single movie is like trying to catch smoke. Hollywood accounting is notoriously secretive, especially for older films and direct-to-video releases. Figures often come from industry reports, interviews, or educated guesses, so take specific numbers with a grain of salt. However, we can definitely trace the arc of his earning power, watching it soar, plateau, dip, and find new life, mirroring the ups and downs of his stardom itself. Jean-Claude Camille Francois Van Varenberg arrived in Hollywood in the early 80s with dreams bigger than his wallet. Like countless aspiring actors, his early days were about hustle, not hefty paychecks. He took whatever he could get, bit parts, background work, anything to get noticed and pay the bills. Think roles like gay dancer and tight black leotard in 1984's Break-In. The pay? A few $100 a day, if that. It was about survival and getting that crucial Screen Actors Guild card. He popped up in short films like Monaco Forever. Also 1984, again, for minimal compensation. His first slightly more substantial role came in No Retreat, No Surrender, 1986, playing the villainous Russian fighter Ivan Krashinsky. While it gave him more screen time and showcased his martial arts skills, it was still a low-budget affair. His paycheck was only $25,000. It wasn't life-changing money, but it was a significant step up from extra work. It put him on the radar of low-budget action producers, particularly the legendary Menahem Golan and Yoram Globus of Cannon Films. Then came Bloodsport, 1988. This was the game changer, the film that launched him into the stratosphere. But here's the kicker. It was filmed before Cannon fully believed in him, and it sat on the shelf for a while. Van Damme himself reportedly helped re-edit the film to make it more commercially viable. His initial salary for Bloodsport was incredibly low for a leading man, around $70,000. Cannon wasn't betting the farm on this unknown Belgian martial artist. When the film became a surprise international hit, especially on video, Van Damme didn't see huge back-end profits, because his initial contract wouldn't have included significant profit participation. However, its success was his leverage. Suddenly, Jean-Claude Van Damme was a name. His asking price immediately jumped. For Black Eagle, 1988, filmed after Bloodsport but released slightly later in some territories, he commanded a bit more, pushing towards $100,000, though still relatively small potatoes. But the momentum was building. Cyborg, 1989, another Cannon production, saw his salary rise further. Cannon, notoriously frugal, paid him somewhere in the $100,000 to $200,000 range. The film itself was cobbled together from the remnants of a failed He-Man sequel, but it performed decently, further solidifying JCVD's B-movie action hero status. Then came Kickboxer, 1989. This film cemented his iconic image. The splits, the dancing, the high kicks. It was another solid hit, especially internationally and on video. His paycheck saw another bump, entering the $500,000 territory. He was becoming a reliable draw for a specific kind of action film. The early 90s marked his transition from B-movie king to genuine Hollywood player. Lionheart, 1990, which he also co-wrote, allowed him to show a slightly softer side, relatively speaking. His salary pushed towards the $500,000 mark. Death Warrant, 1990, followed. A prison actioner, likely keeping him in a similar pay bracket, maybe inching slightly higher as his international appeal grew. The real leap towards million-dollar paydays came with Double Impact, 1991. Playing twins allowed him to showcase more range, and it required more complex filming. This felt like a bigger production, and his salary reportedly crossed the magic $1 million threshold for the first time, perhaps landing somewhere between $1 million and $1.5 million. The film was a financial success, proving he could carry a more ambitious project. Now, Van Damme was in demand. Universal Soldier, 1992, paired him with another European action star, Dolph Lundgren, for a higher-budget sci-fi action spectacle from Carolco Pictures, the company behind Terminator 2. This was a significant step up in terms of studio backing and production scale. His salary reflected this, jumping to $3.5 million. The film was a box office hit, further boosting his bankability. He followed this with Nowhere to Run, 1993, an attempt to broaden his appeal beyond pure martial arts into a more traditional action, thriller, romance territory. While not as explosive as Universal Soldier, it performed respectably. Then came two pivotal films that marked the peak of his earning power: Hard Target, 1993, and Time Cop, 1994. Hard Target was the US directorial debut of legendary Hong Kong director John Woo. This association brought prestige, and the film, despite some studio interference, was a stylish action hit. Van Damme's salary was now pushing $5 million. Time Cop, 1994, became his highest-grossing film as a solo lead. Based on a Dark Horse comic, this sci-fi action blend hit the sweet spot with audiences. This was arguably peak Van Damme in terms of box office clout. His paycheck reflected this pinnacle, reportedly soaring to $8 million. For a brief period, he was one of the highest-paid action stars in the world. Hot off Time Cop's success, he signed on for Street Fighter 1994. Based on the hugely popular video game, this film had a big budget and high expectations. Van Damme, playing Colonel Guile, commanded a salary similar to or even exceeding his Time Cop pay in the $6 million to $8 million range. Unfortunately, the film was a critical disaster and a commercial disappointment relative to its cost and hype. While he got paid up front, its failure began to tarnish his A-list status. Stories of chaos on set and Van Damme's alleged personal issues during this period also started to surface, impacting his reputation. Sudden Death, 1995, a Die Hard in a hockey rink concept, was a solid action film, but didn't reach the financial heights of Time Cop. His salary remained high, in the $5 million to $6 million range, but the downward trend in box office returns was becoming noticeable. Things started getting rocky after his peak. His passion project, The Quest, which he directed himself in 1996, cost a lot but didn't make much money back. This, along with a string of late 90s movies like Maximum Risk, the infamous Double Team with Dennis Rodman, and Knock Off, just didn't hit like his earlier films. His big paychecks started shrinking from the $5 million plus range down towards $2 to $3 million as big studio offers dried up. By the late 90s and into the 2000s, he shifted mainly into making movies that went straight to video, DTV. Think titles like Replicant, In Hell, and Wake of Death. While not Hollywood blockbusters, these films gave him steady work. His pay settled into a new normal, usually somewhere between $500,000 and $2 million per movie. It wasn't peak money, but it kept him busy and paid the bills for years. Then, in 2008, came a real surprise: the movie JCVD. He played a version of himself, and critics loved it. He probably didn't make much cash up front for this small indie film, but it did wonders for his reputation, showing he could really act. This didn't instantly put him back on the A-list, but it helped. He kept doing DTV films, but also got a boost playing the bad guy in The Expendables 2, putting him back in a big hit movie and likely earning him a better paycheck again, $1 million plus. Released in 2018, The Bouncer saw Van Damme taking on a decidedly more somber and gritty role. He played Lucas, a tough nightclub bouncer solely focused on raising his young daughter. Since then, his career's been a mix. He's done voice work in Kung Fu Panda, Minions, starred in his own comedy show on Amazon, Jean-Claude Van Damme, made a splash in a Netflix movie, The Last Mercenary, and continued making DTV action flicks. His earnings vary depending on the project, from solid DTV rates to potentially higher figures for streaming hits and bigger roles. So, the story of Van Damme's paychecks is one of a steep climb fueled by unexpected hits like Bloodsport and Kickboxer, reaching a dizzying peak in the mid-90s with films like Time Cop and Street Fighter, where he commanded up to $8 million. He built an empire, saw it shrink, and then cleverly rebuilt it on new foundations. What do you think about this? Let us know in the comments section below, and make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.